Why are migrant families arriving at the southern U.S. border? Last month, U.S. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Kevin Galeanan announced the immigration system was stretched beyond capacity as record numbers of families arrived. More and more kept. The breaking point has arrived this week, he said somberly at a press conference on Wednesday in El Paso, Texas. CBP is, migrants typically turn themselves into Border Patrol agents. Apprehensions are, it's been over a decade since the United States has seen such a surge of unauthorized migrants coming over the southern border. And the number of so why are so many migrant families arriving, all at once? Interviews with immigration experts and migrants newly arrived in McAllen, Texas, suggest a complex dynamic that includes deepening political and economic crises in some Central American countries, safer and cheaper ways for migrants to reach the U.S., and a belief grounded in reality that parents who travel with their young children are more likely to be allowed in than adults who arrive alone. You have got a worsening economic and political situation in Guatemala and Honduras, smugglers who have diversified their services and become more aggressive in the face of competition from the caravans, and a greater awareness of the ways that families can navigate the system in the United States, said Andrew Salih, president of the Migration Policy Institute in Washington, D.C. Notably, the increase has accelerated in the months since last June, when President Donald Trump announced the end of the United States zero-tolerance policy where children were separated from their parents at the border. Migrants trying to come in and U.S. officials trying to keep them out are locked in a vicious cycle. Tough immigration policies mean migrants who are single males have little to no chance of being released into the U.S. So, parent smugglers, meanwhile, have made it easier and safer for migrants traveling with children to reach the U.S., by using that carry them to the U.S. border in a matter of days. What was once a week, as more migrant families make it to the U.S., word is traveling back to their home countries that the trip is doable, prompting yet more people to come. And why not? In Honduras, Salvadoran migration to the U.S. lags far behind its two northern triangle neighbors. Meanwhile, Trump has used the rise in migrant families arriving at the border to fortify his demands for a border wall. At the same time, Maureen Meyer, director for the Washington office of Latin America's Mexico program, said Trump's hardline and retributive immigration policies have been, at best, ineffective. What we have seen is efforts to cut aid to Central America rather than to address the root causes of migration, she said. Unless you really Patricia * and her son, Jim, 17. Patricia Rubin GMEZ and his son Stephen, 11, from Nicaragua. GMEZ's trip to the border was 14 days. It was a very sad. Ana Patricia Castellano, 34, from Comayagua, Honduras, with her 4-year-old daughter, Alejandra Sofia. They are headed to Florida. Castellano, it's practically impossible for women over 30 to work in Honduras. When we look for jobs, Fernando, 5, came from Nicaragua with his mother, Sandra *. They lived under a bridge. Sandra, we participated in protests against the president. Then, in April, some migrants requested only their first names be used to protect their safety. Emily Green reported from McAllen, Texas.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.